Welcome to R&R's Ask the Expert. I'm your host, Mildred Ingram, R&R's editor-in-chief, and today I'm joined by Frankie Fihn, CEO of Get Flood Jobs. Thank you for being with us, Frankie.
Mildred, super stoked to do this with you. It's been fun catching up, so I'm sure we're going to have some good stuff today.
Absolutely. So could you give us a brief overview of your background and expertise?
So, yeah, I mean, I've been doing digital marketing for 16 years, and it's funny because, I don't think it's kind of like career you wake up and plan for. I was actually just a engineer 2007, and I don't know, I was working for the Ford Motor Company, and everybody remembers the old financial crash, and so I was kind of out of a career, and a friend of me came to me and said, "Hey, I wrote a real estate course on the internet, and we're going to sell it." And I was kind of I don't know, I remember thinking no, you're going to sell your own course, but I didn't really have much going on in those days. There wasn't a lot of career opportunities lined up, and it turned out to be one of the biggest blessings in disguise. And since then, we've been doing what we do for restoration contractors, and it's a cool little industry. It's interesting. The struggles and challenges we have, the balancing the getting work, the actually getting paid on the work you do, and then building teams, and the challenges come with that. But I certainly relate to a lot of them.
Absolutely. So today we're going to discuss gaining leads for water restoration jobs. So I know that you're known for getting your clients, someone wants to gain water restoration jobs, where's the best place to start? How do you start when it comes to wanting to gain these leads?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, there's no one size fits all for everybody. And I'll just tell you what I think I've seen works the best. And I think there's 4 things that work the best. One of those is, getting referrals from plumbers, because, the first person somebody calls when there's water damage is the plumber. It's not, true. They don't. And so plumbers tend to be the first one to see it, and often they're fixing the leak, and then they go, well, I don't fix the water damage. And if you can insert yourself in that referral conversation. So it's, getting, referrals from plumbers. I don't, personally do that, but they're, it's just good old fashioned networking, shaking people's hands, being good to them, helping people out, those kind of things. And then there's a whole separate industry of just bribing plumbers. I won't really comment on that. Second thing that I've seen work really well is the insurance adjuster. Same kind of process, becoming friends with the second person who gets called is the insurance adjuster. And then same kind of thing, the third person who gets called, especially in kind of multi-residential stuff, is the property manager. So it's a good idea to know a lot of property managers. Hey, there's a leak. Hey, we don't fix that kind of leak. And then obviously the thing that I've been kind of most focused on is the digital marketing stuff. And I think, it's probably my favorite. Excuse my language a little bit here, but you don't have to kiss anybody's ass all the time. And for some people, networking is the best thing. I think if you really want to build a stable foundation, you do a little bit of them all, and you do them as well as you can. But having said that, the other person that everybody trusts is Google. And so if you become a master of putting yourself in front of Google, and I think a lot of SEO people in my world tend to make SEO sound way more complex than it is. I know Google's complex and has an algorithm, but it's really just a big question and answer machine. And so people put their questions in there. And so it's really just winning the SEO game is finding all the questions people are looking, or search terms, if you will, that they're trying to find you, and then having the most and best answers. And then also almost like you were a lawyer in court proving your case. And what that looks like in our world is largely Google reviews. And if you do those things where you have the most and best answers, and you have the most kind of proof that you're the real deal, it sends it to you downhill. And that's my personal favorite way to do it, which is why I obviously built a career on that. But I think all of those, there's validity to all of them. And I'm sure there's probably other ways that I haven't heard of, but those are the 4 that I hear the most often, that just have worked, will work tomorrow, will work 10 years from now. And are the best thing to kind of build your career around it, or company around, or however you want to describe that.
So they're the tried and true ones, recommendations for anything once we know. So once these new leads have been acquired, right, what are some of the best practices to retain them and continue the growth?
So I think I read an awesome book. It's behind me on my bookshelf. I don't want to go looking for it right now, but it's called Never Lose a Customer Again by Joey Coleman. And it's the idea that most business experiences, and I'm not talking specifically just in our industry, but like across the board, are very like kind of mediocre and average. And I think the way to like, retain people, keep people, and like kind of do all of that is to intentionally build an exceptional experience. And I think it's actually a low bar. And the book goes into detail about where and when to do it. But it's the idea about like little unexpected extras that people aren't expecting. And, like actually just being candid, like one that we kind of did together is like, I don't know if you remember, but I sent you a little handwritten note in the mail just to say I appreciate you, and I'm hoping that was unexpected. And little touches like that, like where things like you do to just show your people you appreciate them. It's a lost art, I think, in business. It's just not treating people like the DMV, which to me is like hell on earth, is the DMV, where you're just standing in line, you're another number. Like you want to get as far away from that experience and as close to like almost like you're staying at a 4-star hotel where it's it's like concierge and let me take your bags and right this way, sir. And if you stay at a really fancy hotel, we have something to eat even before you check in, and all those kind of little touches. You do that and you tend to build a massive name. And sometimes, like I said, like it's as simple as just like dropping a little handwritten note in the mail to say you appreciate somebody. It's not like you gotta build a 4-star hotel and hire a staff of people, right? It's just little things that above and beyond, like, obviously the basics of like, you have to be able to do good work and communicate with people, but like, that's just the level of mediocre. It's those little things you do on top of that cause people to go like, wow, that company was amazing. And you'll find that you'll get the referrals and recommendations and things like that, because they're like, and they're almost always, by the way, they'll remember those little things, not the $25,000 repair in their house you did. It's like they brought me a towel and a blanket when we were really sad and cold. It's those kind of things that they remember.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely obviously you have to do good work, like you said, but then how did this person make me feel, which is huge across any industry. So what do you feel are the best methods for like creating assets? Like, what do you believe it does for a company?
Well, I've seen it like in enough companies to say like, at least what I've seen is like, imagine you're a consumer, you go to the Google machine and you got a problem and you type in, like my basement is leaking or something like that. Mm-hmm. And you go type that in and you end up on 2 different websites, and person one has what I call the glorified business card website, which is basically just like name, address, contact number. It might look a little longer, but that's basically, Frankie Fihn and Sons, established 1986, call now, if it's even that good. And then you end up on a second website and you see pictures of their work, and you see like 100 different pictures. And then there's like 150 Google reviews of people who saying like, hey, they took care of me. And then there's a picture of their team, and they got a video explaining who they are and why they're so passionate about repairing your things. And they have some guarantees, like we're going to be there within 45 minutes and there's no upfront fees, and we'll work with all your insurance carriers. And then they got 150 blog posts, and you don't even have 5 minutes to read them because it's flooding in the basement. But you see that they're there, that they've been publishing information about this for a long time. Like, realistically, who are you going to call? Not going to Ghostbusters. No. and so like a lot of people don't realize it's a lot like to me like a lawyer building a case, like where you're trying to build as much evidence. It's not enough to simply say we do restoration. Ironically, often the people with the boring business card website actually do the best work, but the consumer has no way of judging who's who. And so I always look at it like half your job is documenting your job. And so like the way to do that without creating a mountain of work where now all of a sudden you got to be this social media creator and blah, 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 is to think about it like, I always tell my clients, like if you're taking pictures for jobs, give them to us so that we can put that into marketing, because like it works just as like you're probably having to document it all for the insurance process anyway. You might as well send it to us so we can go look at the amazing work we just did, because again, it's like a lawyer building a case. We're trying to show as much proof that we're the real deal and say what we are. And I think not enough people realize that. There's a legendary marketer named Dan Kennedy who's trained like a bazillion people in a bazillion different industries. And he said it's disheartening for a lot of people when they find out the business is really the marketing business that you're in. And but when you realize that, you embrace it more and you start to focus on like, like really building those assets as you described them, because they're cumulative. That's the beautiful thing, is like like I said, like you may have 100 blog posts and somebody doesn't read a single one of those, but they see them and they're there and they know that this person is like been at this at least 10 years, and they see post after post and video after video. They're like, like it makes their decision a whole lot easier.
Yeah. That's consumer.
But document, don't create. That's been the secret for us, is like, don't think about it like I have to do this extra amount of work. Is like, how do you take what you're already doing and then turn that into something? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Frankie, thank you for your time and insight. But before we go, where can our listeners connect with you and learn more about how to gain these leads?
If you guys are interested in helping us, or sorry, I should say, if you're interested in getting our help, we have a website called Get Flood Jobs, and there's lots of examples of our work. Like, we practice what we preach, and we're putting stuff out there. And go check it out. It's a good place on the internet. Not for everybody, but if you do restoration, I think it'll be an interesting place to go visit.
Awesome. And for more insights on restoration, remediation, and the people behind it all, visit our website, rnrmagonline.com. We're also on Apple. You can hear us on Spotify. And if you haven't already, be sure to follow us. Give a quick rating and review. And we're also on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook. So we invite you to follow us there too. And this has been another great episode of Ask the Expert. Thank you for listening.